5-minute folks. I guess this is my third time doing this too. But with live stream as well, by the way, so you'll notice the extra microphone for those who are going to be coming up here and speaking alongside myself. But live stream as well as to share about and celebrate the English Empowerment Center's programs, partners, and students empowered by English language education. Thank you everyone for taking the time to participate today. This work is not possible without your partnership and support. Today, we will reflect on the roles of our trusted partners and how they can enable the English Empowerment Center to provide the services that they do. We will hear from members of our community. Those experiences highlight the importance of this work. And together, we can ensure that our neighbors have access to affordable, high quality English language and workplace education for years to come. Our learners who come from over 90 different countries have encountered a variety of unique situations that brought them to this area. Whether it is world events that have displaced them or the hope for better opportunities, they bring with them stories of perseverance and tenacity and add so much experience and beauty to our communities, which I'm excited to hear about today. Education is difficult to commit to as an adult with competing priorities. Our learners make the difficult decision to devote a portion of their finite energy towards learning English for their job, their family, and their community. Our work gives them the space and tools to quickly and efficiently build up their language skills and helps them achieve their lifelong goals. I'd like to take a moment, by the way, to thank a few sponsors that are either with us today, so you're welcome to raise your hand, and please recognize them, see their names on the board to my left and on the screen to my right. So first of all, thank you to our valedictorian sponsors, First National Bank, Simply Smiles, Clark Construction, and Margin Edge. Our Dean's List sponsors, RxIT, Doubletree by Hilton McLean Tysons, where we are here today, Emily's Restaurant and Leslie Restaurant, Kehoe Mac, Alexandria Restaurant Partners, Main Street Bank, Cell Ed, Washington Gas, and Wasabi. We are grateful for our summa cum laude sponsors, Amanda G's Vacations, Chainbridge Bank, John and Eunice Thomas, McLaughlin Ryder Investments, RY Accounting, UHY LLP, Certified Public Accountants, Units Moving and Portable Storage, National Geographic Learning, and the Wolcott Hill Group. And thank you to our cum laude sponsor, Junri Taekwondo. I would like to give a special thanks to our presenting sponsor, Anthem Health Keepers Plus, who, by the way, has been a sponsor of this event at least 2 years now in a row as our presenting sponsor, for their continued support of our events. And with that, I would like to invite Patricia Moreno from Anthem to share a few remarks. Patricia. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
What an opportunity. And I'm so blessed to be able to sponsor this. This is one of my favorite ones. Don't say this to anyone, please. I really, really love this, to be able to see how the community are able to speak English, just like me when I became an immigrant, looking for opportunities. So I do work for Anthem Health Keepers Plus, which is one of the insurance for the state of Virginia, Medicaid. And you already probably heard the news, the rewinding. What is rewinding? It's renewals. 3 years ago, the state of Virginia stopped the renewal process for Medicaid because of it. Now, the government gave the order on December 22nd that renewal is going to start in March. So March of this year, we began the renewal. The state of Virginia estimates around 30% of our members will lose the Medicaid. I bet you don't know what is the number reason why. Because they do not report the address. So those applications are going to bounce back. So what we are asking in our community and each of you to please help us spread the word and tell our community that if they have made any changes in those past 3 years, to please report it to the local social services to Cover Virginia or to their MCO of the choice. Thank you so much, and just have the most wonderful day today in this lunch. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Patricia. And thank you to all of our sponsors. Your generous sponsorships mean that 100% of the money raised today will go directly to the English Empowerment Center programs and the people we serve. Please join me again one more time in thanking all of the sponsors. We are grateful for the continuous support we receive from our elected officials and leaders in the community who recognize the critical needs of English language learners here in Northern Virginia. It is my honor to recognize some of the special guests who are here this afternoon and invite them, a few of them, if you don't mind, to come to the stage. But first, I'd like to acknowledge, and for those of you in the room, if you can just please stand, we do have a few special guests. Rachel Ryback from the Office of U.S. Senator Tim Kaine is here. Maddie White from the Office of U.S. Congressman Jerry Connolly. Seeing as it's St. Patrick's Day, I'm sure he is somewhere else at the moment. I'd also like to recognize Jeremy Allen from the Office of U.S. U.S. Congressman Don Beyer. Thank you all for being here, by the way. And with that, I would like also to thank Delegate Simon, who is with us this afternoon, and to invite him up to share a few words.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. I'll be brief. I know you have a crowded docket. I always really enjoy coming to these kind of events, and this one in particular, and getting an opportunity to hear about the success stories and the effectiveness. I mean, one of the great things about, I'm going to say it, the English Empowerment Center, I'm so used to saying Literacy Council, but I'm going to retrain myself. One of the great things about the English Empowerment Center, and by the way, that's a great name because it really does speak to the mission, right, of the organization. And it really talks about what you all do, is empowering people by teaching them English, and what an important skill that is, and how it really improves people's lives and their ability to communicate and get and move forward with their lives, and just remove so much friction and barriers, and allows everyone to have the best possible opportunity to succeed. And we're going to hear some stories today, I'm sure, some actual success stories that show you how effective your investment in the Empowerment Center can be, and how you get a great return on your contribution. So I hope that you all will be very generous at the end of the event, and you have table captains. I see the envelopes around, so don't run from them, don't hide. Be generous and support them. And thank you guys for having me. I'm really, really proud to have the Empowerment Center in my district, the 13th district, right in Falls Church. So thank you for having me, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Delegate Simon. And thank you all again for being with us today. I would now like to invite Michael Gavin, the President of our Board of Directors, up to the podium.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And I don't know why I'm compelled, even though it's afternoon, to say top of the morning to you. As Jennifer said, my name is Michael Gavin, and I am truly honored to be the president of the Board of Directors for the English Empowerment Center. And I want to thank you all for spending a little bit of your time with us and being here today. The mission of the English Empowerment Center is to teach adults the basic skills of reading, writing, speaking, and understanding English so that they can access employment and educational opportunities and more fully and equitably participate in the community. The English Empowerment Center was established in 1962, for those that might not know, by a grassroots group of local volunteers who were alarmed at the number of English-speaking adults that were functionally illiterate. Today, we serve a predominantly immigrant population whose English is at the lowest skill level, and provide our learners with the crucial first step of language and literacy learning, while also providing our students with workplace soft skills and industry-recognized credentialing. The English Empowerment Center is proud to have served over, anyone want to guess? a little bit more even than that, over 60,000 students in 61 years, which is just truly remarkable. Last year alone, our 16 staff members worked with 524 trained volunteers who gave an outstanding 20,951, to be precise, hours of service to 1,573 students, which is absolutely remarkable. This year, we're on track to serve more than 1,900 students, which is roughly a 20% year-over-year increase from last year, because the demand for our classes are unlike anything we've seen before. The English Empowerment Center provides English instruction to those who cannot read, write, speak, or understand English beyond the 6th grade level through a model that provides intensive instructive combined with supportive services such as tutoring and mentoring. We use today's best practices for adult learning and second language acquisition in our instruction. Classes are inexpensive and available at a variety of locations, times, and durations throughout Northern Virginia, and of course, online. With English skills, our learners can gain a foothold in the workforce, obtain meaningful job advancement, and move to higher learning levels while strengthening family bonds and increasing their personal involvement in the community. And this afternoon, we're going to have an opportunity to hear some of these stories, which I'm sure will be moving for all of us. There's not Kleenex on the table, but you're welcome to use your napkins. I joined the board in 2017, which is kind of remarkable. It's before our now 5-year-old was even born, and I'm here today with my husband, John, and our 9-month-old Patrick on St. Patrick's Day. And in addition to seeing a lot of things change in my personal life since 2017, I have seen this organization go through many exciting and transformational changes. Through a program called Destination Workforce, the English Empowerment Center offers English classes in partnership with employees like Marymount University, the Alexandria Restaurant Partners, and the City of Alexandria Recreation and Parks Department, who are prioritizing lifting up their employees so they can be both more effective in the workplace and in the community. The English Empowerment Center offers virtual English classes as a result of the pandemic. And while we are very proud to be back in person in all of our locations, after hearing from our students that childcare and transportation could make it difficult for them to attend classes, we've made the decision to continue offering our classes virtual. This semester alone, it's unbelievable that 1/3 of our students are taking classes virtually, which means that students and teachers alike have to be trained to incorporate computer and online communication platform skills into our classes. For our students, this can mean learning how to mute and unmute, which is not only something that students need to learn, I need to learn that myself, and so do many of my colleagues, being in endless virtual meetings. How to turn on and off video, which again, I think is something we can all relate to. How to use breakout rooms, which is something I need to learn how to do, and so much more. The pandemic has made it clear that computer skills are critical in order to how we communicate, and for many, being able to use a computer was, and still can be, the only way to continue to work. So the English Empowerment Center applied for, and I'm very proud to say, received funding for 45 laptop computers to be able to incorporate a laptop lending program into our classes. We have also incorporated North Star digital literacy into our curriculum, where students now receive certificates and digital badges when they pass certain assessments. This is really important because not only does it demonstrate how the organization continues to modernize and evolve to meet the needs of our learners, but after our students pass these assessments, which certify basic skills such as using a computer, the internet, email, and understanding privacy rights, they're also qualified to pursue more advanced training, additional certifications, and can enter into different career pathways. One thing I've noticed about the English Empowerment Center is that there is always a laser focused attention put on the needs of our students. Our students are always focused on with passion, and there's always reflection on what is working well and where there are opportunities for improvement. This is just one of the many reasons why I love and am so proud of being associated with the English Empowerment Center. I would like to thank again all of you for being with us today to hear about the need for adult literacy education and the great work that's being done by the staff, volunteers, and of course, from English Empowerment Center students themselves. Before I hand over the mic, I would like to ask that my fellow current and former board members please stand to be recognized. I know there are many of you. Many of us are the ones that will be asking you for generous donations through this event, and we really appreciate that. But to my fellow board members, I can't thank you enough for your commitment to the English Empowerment Center. It is truly an honor to work alongside of you. I am humbled by your passion and the expertise that you bring, and I learn something from each and every one of you. I would also like to ask that the English Empowerment Center staff stand so that you can also be recognized. I cannot tell you what a privilege and an honor it is to be involved in an organization with such a committed staff who is not only passionate, but works tirelessly to always offer academically top-notch programming that is well-run and welcoming for our students. So with all of that said, I would now like to ask Rupal Saran, the English Empowerment Center's Executive Director, to come to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 5th annual Taste of Literacy, and as Jennifer said, the 3rd in person and the 1st with our new name, the English Empowerment Center. What an incredible response that we've received for this new name, including having a U.S. Department of Education Assistant Secretary, Dr. Amy Lloyd, come speak at our name-changing event back in November. The new name, English Empowerment Center, emphasizes a critical goal to teach English to learners to empower themselves to thrive. At the start of our classes, our teachers are spending some time explaining the new name and sharing examples of what learning English can empower a student to do. They can now talk to their children's teachers and get to know their children's friends. They can advocate for their rights at a homeowners association. And they can ask for directions to be able to get where they need to go. Learning English can change their lives. Another impetus for our name change was to reflect that due to our virtual offerings, we are now able to offer classes well beyond Northern Virginia. This year, our students have come from 18 different states and even from outside the country. We hope to continue to remain accessible to all students who can benefit from our services, like we are for the 750 students that have enrolled for this current spring semester. As Michael mentioned, 33% of them are virtual, bringing our total, as Michael also mentioned, to 1,900 students for the year. Woo. "1,900 students." We have never before seen this kind of demand for our classes. It is exciting to see that number of people in the halls and to be able to hear them talk and talk in English. And it is also daunting to know that there is such a significant need for our services. How do we keep up with this need? Well, thankfully, we have a fantastic and ever-growing group of passionate volunteers who make themselves available for anything, and I mean anything, that our organization or our students need. They are office volunteers. They do outreach for student recruitment. They are testers, and they are teachers. Our students this semester are being served by 209 instructors. They are on the front lines doing this very, very important work, teaching English and also providing a welcoming community for our students. Let's take a few minutes so you can hear some more about our volunteers.
I'm Amy Tristan, the Volunteer and Outreach Manager here at the English Empowerment Center. It has been my honor to have worked with English learners for the past 5 years. And I know that our programs are often the first step in allowing students to change the arc of their lives or their families' lives. And by empowering them with education, they can make choices about how they want to live their future with greater access to opportunities. And as we empower students in our classrooms, many of whom had previously lived in linguistic isolation, we aren't empowering them to change who they are, but to honor their experiences and use the skills that they're learning in our classrooms to make their voices heard in the community. And as I speak to students and volunteers and I hear their stories, I know that our volunteers get as much out of our programs as our students. So this is really a place where learning is collaborative and where we are creating a community that is defined by empathy and understanding.
My name's Chris Xarlis, and I am a volunteer at the English Empowerment Center. I've been teaching here on and off for the last 5 years as a volunteer. Right now I teach the evening level 3 class for adult learners. We have about 15 students who come from all kinds of different backgrounds and all kinds of different walks of life who are all super motivated to come in here after long days of work, after long days of taking care of kids, family, all the activities that life throws their way, and come here 2 hours a night, 3 nights a week to learn English. And it's really inspiring to me. I can have the longest day at work and feel run down. I come in here, I'm just energized coming out of here. It's just so inspiring to learn from the students, from the staff and the aides and all my colleagues, other volunteers here. I just really enjoy it.
Hi, my name is Lori Hayden. I found EEC when I had just retired from a career. At first I was just an aide in the classroom, but then I found I really wanted to do more. I've helped some students who have wanted to become a citizen pass either the civics portion or the reading and writing portion of the citizenship exam. Some students come in with not a word of written language in English or in their native tongue. And that's really an undertaking for them. And I really appreciate them willing to work so hard and be so motivated to leap into that area.
I started volunteering with ECC, with Literacy Council, way back in 1996. Teaching ESL to adults, for me, has been very rewarding, and to my fellow volunteers. Our students want to learn. They attend class consistently. They make the best effort to do their homework. In class, they pay attention. It is so rewarding to teach students of that interest, that enthusiasm, level of enthusiasm. And as a teacher, I learned something from every class. Sadly, I learned to be a better English speaker myself. I should have learned this stuff earlier. But you also learn different cultural orientations, different challenges in learning English. There's lots of cultural experiences for volunteers and students alike. It's a tremendous program. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Carissa Pineda, and I've been involved with the English Empowerment Center for a very long time. Started off as a lead teacher in family learning many years ago. And then I was a family learning specialist for about a decade. And I've been not staff for some time now, for about 8 years, but I've been volunteering and I am currently a board member. And there are many reasons that I've been inspired over the years over what I've seen in the classrooms at the English Empowerment Center. Making a commitment to doing something challenging, especially for adults and adult students, is like the ultimate act of self-care. And they model it to their families, they model it in their communities, and it makes a greater impact.
But for now, will anyone in this room who is a volunteer please raise their hand? Thank you. Thank you so much. We cannot do this work without you. Did you know that the national average cost of serving an adult learner is $1,000 per student? Here at the English Empowerment Center, 50% of our students live below the poverty line, $27,750 for a family of 4. And over 80% of our students live at below 200% of the poverty line. We cannot ask them to pay anywhere near $1,000 for English classes. The tuition we charge for our classes is $85 a semester, which includes the cost of books, assessments, and supplemental services like tutoring and mentoring. And we never turn anyone away for inability to pay. We fundraise, we train hundreds of volunteers annually to keep our costs low and to make sure that our services will always be affordable. We know this is important work. And so today we want you to hear this directly from some of our students, volunteers, and partners. I am pleased to welcome volunteer Marcia Jersey to the stage to introduce our first speaker. Marcia's had a long career as a librarian at Marymount University. And most recently, she's been teaching a level 3 beginning English course at the Korean Community Center in Annandale. She's a very engaging instructor and has tea and snacks in class to foster a friendly and conversational community environment, which is so important for language development. Our staff has found that she is very good at getting the learners to talk to her and each other on any topic, expertly punctuating the conversation with relevant questions to deepen and expand upon each interaction. She's also been invaluable as an office volunteer. Thank you, Marcia, for joining us today.
Good afternoon, everyone. As mentioned, I'm a level 3 instructor at the Korean Community Service Center, and I'm here to introduce our next speaker, Sadia Hadari. Well, I met Sadia on our first day of ESOL class in September of 2022. I learned that she had been in the United States for less than a year, having just arrived the previous November. From the moment I met her, I was struck by her poise, her desire to master the English language, her enthusiasm for learning everything, and her easy laughter and smile. As Halloween approached, I asked Sadia what she remembered about her previous experience with Halloween. And she told me she had no experience with Halloween, as she had been in a camp the previous October. It wasn't until recently that I learned that when Sadia left Afghanistan then to Germany, and then to Philadelphia, where she was then moved to Fort Pickett, the National Guard installment near Blackstone, Virginia, as one of thousands of evacuees processed through that facility. Then in November of 2021, her aunt and uncle were able to pick her up and bring her to Annandale, where she lives today. We are so lucky to have her here. So please give a warm welcome to Sadia Hadari.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious. Hello, my name is Sadia Hadari. I'm 25 years old from Panjshir province in Afghanistan. I have a law degree from Toloy Aftab University in Afghanistan. I came to USA in 2021 after the Taliban took power. I live Anandel now near my aunt and my uncle. At first I had many problems. I need to speak on the phone, check my emails, get direction. This was my experience. I Googled 7-Eleven on my phone and thought there was only one. I don't have a car, so I walked there for 2 hours. My phone died. I was lost. I couldn't ask the people. I couldn't solve my problems. So one day I told myself, I have to be strong. I have to solve my own problems. It is up to me, not someone else. So I decided to continue my education. I find English Empowerment Center, Google. Here, education is for everyone, man and woman, not like Afghanistan. My teacher is very kind. Always she behaves like a friend. Every day is interesting. I try to never miss a class. My dream for the future is to go USA college and study law or computer science. I want to find a good job and support my family. I have 6 sisters and 2 brothers. I want to help them. I hope they are coming here. I hope they are coming here as soon as possible, inshallah. They also need to study at university like me. They need to solve problems, not someone else doing for them. Right now, I work 7 days a week after class. I am very tired when I came home, but there is in USA, I'm safe. I can help support my family and improve my education and one day go to university. I say I have to study. I have to learn English. Taking classes at English Empowerment Center has changed my life. My work friends at first said, I wish you talk English. Now she said, your English is very good and better than before. Before, if someone was calling me, I couldn't talk to them. No, now I'm talking to everybody at metro, at grocery store. When I speak English, I feel very good. This makes me strong. My problems and my goals make me strong. I studied very hard in Afghanistan. I told myself, I will be a lawyer. Here it is possible. My mother and my father helped me and said, yes, one day you will be a lawyer and you will be a good lawyer. You will help and support a lot of women and girls for education. When I think about my friends who sat next to me in class in Afghanistan, when class finished, she said, I hope I take another class. I hope I graduate and continue my education. I cannot, but I cannot because I don't have enough money to continue my education. When I think for her, I cry because she has no chance. She has no chance she has no chance to continue her education. But I must be strong for her. Another Afghani friends who share the same name, Sadia, when we talk on the phone, she told me she is studying at home. She continues to fight for her education. I told for her, do not miss even one day of studying, because you can bring your education with everywhere you go. Before I had problems, but after 2 semesters at English Empowerment Center, I speak better. I check my emails, ask questions. Now I can solve my own problems. I will tell my sister if they are coming here, you have to take an English Empowerment Center class as soon as you can. You have to. I will tell them, I study today, so my tomorrow will be better. And that makes me my future bright. Because as we say in Farsi, education saves people from darkness. Education is like bringing light in your life. In the end, I would like to say thank you so much to all the teachers and all the employees of this center and those who work hard and spend the time for education. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sadia, for sharing your story. We are so proud to be a part of your journey. Next, I would like to talk about partnerships. This is not fair. One of my favorite parts of my job is that we get to work with committed people all over the place and organizations who care about our population. We come together and we dream up ways to offer more efficient delivery of services to reach as many people as possible, all the while keeping their needs front and center. Once you get started, you realize the possibilities are endless. You can find government agencies and ask them to make sure that they provide translations for all the services that they offer so that we can help spread the word about them. You can go to other nonprofits and ask them to provide referrals or classroom spaces for clients who could use adult literacy programs. You can go to the corporate sector and you can ask them to offer skilled professionals who are willing to volunteer their time and talents to research a new possible revenue stream or pull different types of reports from our database or develop a marketing plan for a new program. At English Empowerment Center, we work with all sectors and we know our students are more successful for it. Our next speaker is Sarah Krischer, Senior Manager and Innovation Architect at Accenture. Sarah's been a volunteer with the English Empowerment Center for 6 years, working on pro bono consulting teams that have done a variety of projects with us, including developing our current strategic plan, researching what makes an effective job fair, for which we are really excited to be holding for our students for the first time next month, and most recently served on the design team that guided us through our name change and rebrand. In the office, we say that Sarah knows us as well as we know ourselves, often crafting language so intuitive to our next goals that it would make you think she works full-time with us. We invited her to speak today as a partner and to share her experience working with the English Empowerment Center.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad RuPaul said it because that's how I was going to start this, is by saying I felt like I was part of the staff after working here for so long. When the team first asked me to speak at this year's event, my first question was actually not on the topic. It was, am I following a student? Because as we all know, the students give amazing speeches and are tough acts to follow, which Sadia certainly did. And I would like another round moment for her and her students. It was great, and I'm certainly not going to top it. But luckily, as RuPaul said, the group I was asked to speak about really speak for themselves. The most dedicated, wonderful staff team that I've personally had the privilege of working for in my professional career. So to give you a little more context on our partnership, the English Empowerment Center is one of Accenture's most long-standing, strong partnerships in the Metro DC area. Our nonprofit partnerships aim to realize mutual goals in skilling, equity, and more. And outside of cash grants, our partnerships come in the form of those pro bono volunteer projects that RuPaul listed out. So for example, the strategic plan, we've done shorter term, one-day efforts of converting class material throughout the pandemic, when the shuffle and chaos of moving to the virtual format. So we've worked really closely with the staff in a few different capacities over the past few years. And I speak on behalf of myself and the feedback that I get from all of our Accenture volunteers that English Empowerment Center projects are always one of the brightest spots of experiences for our people. And not to inflate egos, but the EEC staff are consistently noted as our favorite clients and partners that people get to work with. So a little pat on the back for you too. The staff at the English Empowerment Center are the best in their fields. They always show up in our partnerships with the utmost grace, kindness, and generosity of their time to do whatever it takes to provide the highest quality of services for their learners, teachers, volunteers, and really communities at large. We continue to learn so much from the staff here, not only about the importance of this mission and what it takes to achieve it, but we can also all take notes from the team on resilience, being stronger when we work together, and the impact that can happen when you bring together the best people to work towards a greater cause. We look forward to many, many more years of the bright spots that come from partnering with this team. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sarah. We truly appreciate your continued support. Next, I'd like to introduce another partner who will introduce our next student speaker. Krishna Leva is the Family and Community Engagement Manager for Alexandria City Public Schools, responsible for ensuring the successful delivery of division-wide family engagement services, where her work focuses on engaging families in their children's education. She has worked with low-income immigrant youth, community, and families in Northern Virginia for more than 18 years. In her work, she offers advice on how immigrants and refugee families integrate and how social policies and practices facilitate or hinder family functioning, community integration, and family engagement in schools. We've had the privilege of partnering with Krishna for nearly a decade in our Family Learning Program, or FLP, in the city of Alexandria. FLP curriculum emphasizes the needs of parents with school-aged children, engaging families in activities that help parents develop their English and reinforce what their children are learning in school. We actually hold 2 classes in this program, one for the parents and one for the kids, with them coming together regularly to do activities to practice what they are learning. Krishna has provided us with space, opened the door to new partnerships with principals and apartment buildings, and more, and provided children's teachers so that the children of our adult learners are cared for and learning while their parents are in class. Her trademark is the tremendous enthusiasm that she always has for the accomplishments of her students. I'm pleased to introduce Krishna to say a few words and introduce our second speaker.
All right, this is not my favorite thing to do, but I am so honored to be here. So I just want to ask around, how many of you have gone to a foreign country on vacation and you have no idea how to speak the language? Figure that much. Now imagine that you have to move, and you move to a new country, and you have children, and you need to navigate a very complicated school system. You have to find a job, and you have to provide for your family. Hard, right? Pretty hard. So I just want to say, my name is Krishna Leva, and I'm the Family and Community Engagement Manager at Alexandria City Public Schools. Today, I am honored to be here and to highlight our partnership with the English Empowerment Center for the contribution and collaboration. In ACPS, we have over 119 countries represented who speak over 124 languages. So as you can imagine, having English classes is vital for the functioning of our families and for our community. Over 60% of our students, their first language is not English. So programs like this not only empower our families, but also help families to be engaged and involved in their children's education, which is, by research, one of the key predictors of student success, positive family involvement and engagement in their children's life. For the past 9 years, almost 10, EEC has been providing free English classes, such as the Family Literacy Program, to ACPS. These classes are offered in our schools and community sites. Not only do parents learn English, but its curriculum fosters parent-child interaction using activities that the children learn while playing during childcare. One of my fondest memories were when we actually started talking about doing English classes, and we had a community center. We knew that one of the biggest barriers that families had was actually getting to the school because of transportation, but also because they were afraid of walking at night because of the neighborhood they were living at. So when we opened the first English class in a community that locals call Chirilagua, which is in Alexandria, we had such a tremendous enrollment that we had a line. And those parents were so excited. Some, they just came in with their pens and pencils. I'm like, no, wait, we still have to do an assessment, right? So from that first class, those parents were so excited. So we were able to continue that class. And then we were like, okay, can we open another class? And let me tell you something. If we had, if it was for the parents that we have, we have 18 schools, we probably could have an English class for parents in every single school. That's the #1 request for me as a family engagement manager, to put classes in the community, English classes for families. But also we provide childcare, which is a huge barrier for many of the parents to participate. And these classes are free. And we also feed parents, because we know that at the time that they're done, it's really hard for them to come from work and do all that stuff. So now, from all the parents that started, we actually saw how parents began to be at parent-teacher conferences to get better jobs. We will see them talking and be advocates of their children. Now, fast forward to 2023. Many of our parents who have been able to take part in these classes are those who are now advocating in groups and being very active. We actually have some parents that are working with George Mason University and have created their own groups to be able to help them to do research to better their community. There are no words to express my gratitude to all the people, including staff, under Ms. RuPaul's leadership. Melissa, who I know for many years, and Lisa, but everybody who works here. It is incredible, their commitment to what they do. Programs like these are essential to our community, and we are very grateful for this partnership. On behalf of ACPS, and as someone who also came to the United States at 23 years old without speaking English, who graduated with a master's degree from USC, has two amazing children and a wife of 27 years, who have had the fortune to do what I love. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the English Empowerment Center for all you do to support families to achieve the American dream. Thank you. And now, I want to tell you about Manuel, one of our students. This is the best part. This is what I really love. Manuel has a son in high school and came to our program because he wants to learn English to advance in his work. He's a positive and supportive others in class. He basically is the teacher's helper. And when he actually enrolled in the class, he was like moving around and telling people. So when I went to the celebration at the end of the year, or the end of the class, I was like, he was talking in English with RuPaul. I was like, oh, wow. So he always has a smile, and he's a very kind towards his teacher. And I am so pleased to welcome Mr. Manuel to the stage to share his story with us today. Thank you so much.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Manuel Savana. I come from El Salvador. I came into United States in 1999. I have been learning English from the home. I have a 16-year-old son. Anthony, he's in high school. He was born in United States, and his English is perfect. No, my. But he not read Spanish well. Sometimes when a letter comes to me on English, I say, son, can you come help me? And he said, okay, Daddy. But sometimes I have to translate in Spanish. On him at their dinner table, we speak Spanglish because it is easier to understand each other. This is my second semester in their family learning programs. I am really interested in their taking their program at their English Empowerment Center again. I can learn English sitting in my house. I get too comfortable and lazy. But when I go to the family learning program, my teacher made me it more interesting. I tell my family and friends, if you want to live in here in the United States, you need to speak English. I say, make no excuse for learning English. No excuse. No coming to class late. My job is in construction. I work on the new highway on 66. So every Tuesday, Thursday, I race home, take off my dirty clothes, take a quick shower, and get to class on time. Always tell my boss I got to leave in 30 minutes early to get to English class on time. He say, okay, you can go. He's good boss. He went to me speak English. Sometimes I don't have enough time to speak to my son, teacher, because of my longer hour at work. Sometimes my girlfriends need to translate it to help understand my son. Progress or any problem he might be having in the school. I tell my friends and my girlfriend, if you don't study now, you never know when you will learn English in the future. Doing something. Take me my life better. It's not easy, but I know when. Need to use all the time well do I have a better future. Nothing is free in this life, except English class. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for all the donation. You are leading my education. I know I can't take on their whole world at the one time. So I wake up every day and say, thank you, God, for letting me learn something new today. My life is about learning more and more. Not really perfect, but I try to make everything right. I am really happy and I have an enthusiasm to learning English and second language. It's so important and really appreciated their English Empowerment Center to help me and provide me English. It is important to continue their family learning program. It's not easy after long hours of work, but I will continue. It's hard, but this program is tough. Family learning will continue. Parents like me. So I will continue to put all my power on my life into learning English. Trust me, I will can go on one day. I will speak a fluent English to like my son. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sadia, and thank you, Manuel, for using your English skills to share your empowering stories with everyone. One final applause for our speakers. We look forward to seeing what else the future has in store for both of you, and thank you to all of our speakers for sharing your voices and stories with us today. Today, we have heard that thanks to English education, our students feel empowered to achieve their goals and brighten their futures. Isn't that what everyone wants? This afternoon, we have reflected on how our programs help our learners empower themselves, which is why that word is in our new name, by the way, folks. Now it's your turn. You can help your neighbors in their efforts to learn English with the English Empowerment Center by volunteering, advocating for funding for English language education, and spreading the word about our programs. Your chance to help starts today. The English Empowerment Center cannot operate without your support. For over 60 years, this organization has been serving our community because of the generosity of people like you. So far, we have raised more than $40,000, and we know that some of you in this room have already made pledges to give. Thank you in advance. For all in the room, you are now going to hear how your donations benefit the learners of the English Empowerment Center. But let me make this a bit more interesting. How many people have been to this event before, by the way? Raise your hand. Okay. So for those of you not in the room, it's about to get a little loud. I'm gonna try to talk through the loudness. If you can't hear me, don't worry about it, but I'm gonna try, and you'll realize why in about a second. So first, we are honored to have a generous donor who has offered $5,000 as a raise your hand to receive a special door prize courtesy of Wasabi. You raise your hand, keep them up. Our staff is coming around with a gift.
Yeah.
Okay, as if the white dot wasn't exciting enough. Will the person who has a red dot on the right side of their chair raise their hand? Do we have it in the back? Sonia? Yeah? I am happy to announce that you are the winner of a beautiful three-dimensional origami vase made and donated by the Senior Center members of the James Lee Community Center. By the way, that is Sonia, who's amazing. And it's as if this was serendipitous. She literally matches the flowers in the vase. I just want to point this out with her outfit today. Amazing. I wish I could say I planned that. I did not. Finally, for the first two tables to have 100% participation of those giving, by the way, you will receive gift cards to Wasabi Sushi here in Tyson's. Each table captain has a cowbell. By the way, they're yellow in case you didn't notice them. This is why, folks, I said it gets loud. You have a cowbell. Once you have met the goal of 100% participation at your table and you have all of the envelopes collected, not just names written down, folks, you got to finish it fast, right? This is why it gets crazy. Ring your cowbell. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of cowbells. So, table captains, please pass out the cards that are in the envelope. I know you had instructions to wait for my instructions. So, please pass out a card in an envelope and pen to each person at your table. When you have completed your donation, please give it back to your table captain. Our goal here today is to raise $20,000, as I like to say on the floor, to help adults learn English. The ability of our neighbors to earn a living wage, care for their families, and become more active members of our community depends on their ability to read, write, and speak and understand English. There are an estimated 134,200 people in Northern Virginia who report speaking English less than well, making up 5.4% of the region's total population. A donation of $1,000 will provide enough textbooks for a beginning English class, ensuring that our learners at the earliest stages of learning have resources to help them communicate with their neighbors, doctors, and employers. For those donating $1,000 today, thank you. Approximately, if you catch the drift, folks, right? The idea here is your donation helps support in the following ways, just making sure I was clear. Approximately 50% of local school children speak a language other than English at home, 50%. For many, their parents struggle to help them with their homework. I've seen this in my daughter's school, or communicate with their teachers. Through English Empowerment Center's Family Learning Program, which we heard from Manuel, we partner with schools to provide language classes to parents and guardians, engaging families in activities that help parents develop skills, reinforce what children are learning at school, and promote literacy at home. A donation of $500 will cover the cost of a year of family learning classes for a mother and her child. For those donating $500 today, thank you. Got to. 5 years, thank you. 5 years ago, a local workforce development program shared the unmet need for intensive language and soft skills training for clients who not only do not speak English, but who have little or no formal education and are largely unable to read and write in their native language. The English Empowerment Center responded by creating a course offering 35 hours of training a week, including English, computer literacy, and work experience. Your gift of $200 will pay for costs of one learner to enroll in our intensive class. I love it. What I like. For those donating $200 today, thank you. I think there's a couple of tables missing, folks. The English Empowerment Center could not exist without our exceptional and devoted volunteers. Our volunteers provide cost-saving pro bono projects, teach classes, tutor learners, take photographs, run mock interviews. The list goes on and on. They also provide encouragement, throw baby showers, celebrate birthdays, and bake cookies to share on test days. They create community. For a donation of $100, it will pay for the training and materials for 2 volunteer instructors who we've heard from today. For those donating $100 today, thank you. Feel like there's still a table or 2 missing. Am I wrong? I think I need a little more cowbell. Aha! Thank you, Carissa. Today, you've heard stories about individuals who had the courage and tenacity, hooray, to learn something new that would change their lives, the lives of their families and our community. We are grateful for any donation made today, large or small. These funds provide the English Empowerment Center with essential resources to continue to provide pathways to English language learners whose talents, experiences, and voice add so much to our area. For those donating at any level today, thank you. Has anyone not gotten there? Like Janet, there we go. Perfect. Thank you so much for your donations today. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you'll come back next year. For those that want your door prizes, enjoy. Wasabi is delicious. Thank you all for being here today at our annual Taste of Literacy. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.